What is up? What is going on, everybody? Welcome back. Welcome into the Mariners post game recap. Mariners dropped this one today 5-2 to the Cleveland Guardians. They fall to 3-3 on the season, and I am going to break it all down for you guys right now. Before I do that, do me a favor, hit the like button. It helps out tremendously. And guys, I cannot thank you enough for all the new subscribers. I'm only 118 subs away from 3,000. That was kind of my goal this season, was to get to 3,000. And with the way you guys are hitting the sub button, which means the absolute world to me, I might get there this weekend, honestly. So just blows me away. And thank you guys so much for all the support. I hope you enjoy these videos. I hope you enjoyed. I try to come at this with a very level-headed take. Try not to get too, upset, angry. And listen, I want you guys to know, like, I do get upset when I'm watching these games. I'm just as frustrated as some of you are. I promise you. But I try to take a deep breath after the game and assess the big picture. And the big picture right now is the Mariners are 3-3. There's 156 games left to play. Truthfully, I think you can make a good case. They're probably lucky to be 3-3 because I will agree with everybody there. They have not looked good so far outside of Logan Gilbert and George Kirby on the mound. And then, Rojas has got a few hits and Haniger. It's been a pretty rough season all around. I mean, there's nothing that's really stood out to me so far through six games. And that's the important thing to take away, guys. We are still talking extremely small sample size here. Extremely small. You guys know I mentioned other video, but if you're new here, I give it about a month and then I'll start assessing, okay, what are these guys' numbers? How are they looking? What's going on here? Now, listen, if it spirals out of control and the team's 3-17, and we're still not after the first month, yeah, then there's a conversation needs to be had. But even hanging around 500 for a month, really not the end of the world. You're still, teams can get streaky in baseball, and you're 1 5-game winning streak away from being right there. Now you're also 1 5-game losing streak away from dipping down under 500 fairly significantly. So it can go both ways, but that's one thing the team did do well last year, despite the slow start. They never really let the losses pile up. I think their longest losing streak was like 3 or 4 games. And then they had multiple 8-game winning streaks. Someone yelling outside. I'm not expecting the 15-game or 14-game winning streak or multiple 8-game winning streaks, but at some point this team will get hot and win 5 or 6 in a row, win 9 out of 10. And if you can hang around 500 before that happening, you should be overall in good shape. So let's go ahead and break this game down. Let's start with the pitching, the hitting, and I'll talk about a couple other things with this game as well. Luis Castillo got the start, 5 2/3, 10 hits, 4 runs, 4 and 1 walk, 7 Ks. I really am kind of confused on what to say about Luis Castillo. On one hand, through 3 innings, that's as good as I think I've seen him in a Mariner uniform, and he's had some amazing starts as a Seattle Mariner. He looked like he was on his way to 7 shutout innings with 10, 11 strikeouts through 3 innings. And then there just seems to be that one inning for Castillo that just he can't get past. I don't have every Castillo box score or line score, whatever, in front of me, but it seems like at least for the second half of last year and into this year, this has kind of been what we've gotten a little bit. Just these weird starts were dominant, and then the 4th inning happens. And listen, Jose Ramirez gets an infield hit. It sucks, but it stinks. I should try not to cuss if you consider sucks a cuss. I've now said it twice. Um, Ramirez gets the infield hit, which, it happens. Will Brennan's down 0-2, I think with 2 outs, and you're thinking, okay, great, just put him away. And for the second straight at bat, Will Brennan gets an 0-2 hit, which is super frustrating. Mitch Haniger bobbles the ball out there. Ramirez scores. And then Bo Naylor takes Castillo deep, and it's 3-0. So even without the Haniger error, it probably would have been 3-0 both ways. Now, I will say that, like, had Haniger not made the error and it was 1st and 2nd with 2 outs, maybe Castillo pitches Naylor differently. Who knows? I'd even argue the pitch to Naylor wasn't even that bad of a pitch. It was in the same spot where he got a called 3rd strike on Naylor earlier. It was a little bit inside, probably a ball at 95, 96, I think. Naylor deserves credit for turning on it, but it's just, I really don't know what to make of Castillo. Like, I mean, listen, my take on it right now, I think Castillo's going to be just fine. 7 strikeouts, 1 walk is completely acceptable. You see that, you would think it's going to be a pretty good start. And truthfully, you take out the 1 inning, and it was a great start for Castillo. Now, you don't get to take out that 1 inning; it happened. But I don't know. He like his first start against Boston. I didn't think he was terrible. Um, I thought he had much better command tonight than he did Thursday night for sure. But on Thursday, Devers hit a decent pitch and just muscled it up out of there. And Bo Naylor kind of did the same today. And, it led to a few runs, and you had some defensive gaffes in the next inning, too. Rojas made a throwing error. I'll talk about that in a little bit. But yeah, I really don't know what to make of it. And, listen, it's small sample. We're talking about 2 starts. Like, so if you want my like non-judgmental take and my, you know, analytical hat on, whatever you want to call it, I would say there's nothing to be worried about. He's made 2 starts, hasn't looked bad at all. The fastball looks good, although the velocity was kind of all over the place tonight, I thought. You never know with these radar guns, though. And then the changeup I thought looked great tonight. I really did. Um, so I think Castillo's gonna be fine. I really do. I think this is just kind of a little bit of hiccup. And unfortunately, dating back to last year or last season, his last 2 starts, which were big starts against Houston and Texas, where they absolutely needed Castillo. And then the first 2 of this year, just have not been great. And, it leaves that bad taste in your mouth. But I think Castillo is going to be just fine. I really do. The stuff's too good. I don't see where he would just be dropping off. The home run thing may just be something that's a bugaboo for him. And you just hope they're solos, right? I mean, there's been really good pitchers that have tendencies to give up home runs. You just hope they're solo home runs. Um, so I think Castillo will be fine. I don't even think he was, like I said, I don't even think he was that bad tonight. Just seems to be that 1 inning that gets away from him. Taylor Saucedo, 2/3 of an inning, 2 hit, 1 run, 1 earned, no walks, 1 strikeout. Not going to lie, had to go pick up my son and then also stop for a little Sonic ice cream action, milkshake on the way back home, which is already hurting my stomach a little bit. I'm cannot eat milkshakes or drink milk. Eat, I guess you can eat them because they're kind of ice cream, like I did when I was 18 anymore. The reason I'm mentioning that, if you could let me know in the comments if you want to hear more of my Sonic escapades, but I didn't get to see Sauce pitch in this game. In fact, I didn't even get to see Castillo's final 2 outs in the 6th. I'm not really sure how that went down. Listen, there's some games I just won't be able to watch. It happens. So I have to go off the box score. Good to see a strikeout from Saucedo. I have not been overly impressed with Sauce yet this year. Not the results. It's not the ERA. It's 6.75. That doesn't really concern me. ERA is flawed and it can be tough for relievers. It's just the stuff doesn't look quite as great. Looks a little flat. Didn't get to see him tonight. Would have liked to because I think this team absolutely needs Saucedo. But right now you got a lot of guys kind of fighting for a job because Brash and Santos will be back. You got guys like Tyson Miller down in AAA that could be up soon. So, some hiccups by a couple guys and, someone could be going to AAA fairly soon there. So, good to see the strikeout from Sauce, but a shame that he did have to give up an earned run there. Cody Bolton goes an inning in 2/3, looked really good. No hits, no walks, no runs, 2 strikeouts. Bolton has flashed some good stuff. His sweeper looks good. That's why I talk about kind of pressure on Sauce, because you got some of these guys like Cody Bolton who has looked pretty good. And so is Colin Snyder, who pitched a shutout 9th inning, did not give up a hit, a walk, a run, and struck out a batter. So in the small sample size we've seen of Bolton and Snyder, I've been impressed. I think they look solid. Are they guys I'm trusting, in Yankee Stadium against Juan Soto with the bases loaded and Mariners up 3-2? Not there yet, but they look like guys that can definitely be useful this year in 2024. And maybe you're looking at, this year's Justin Topa or this year's Taylor Saucedo or Gabe Spire. So, that they did their job Bolton and Snyder did their job and pitched well today. So let's move on to the offense and some individual performances. JP Crawford was 0 for 5, did have an RBI ground out. JP, I was going to say it looks like they're pressing, but sometimes results can lead to how you feel. And are they pressing, or is it the fact that they don't look that great? So we think they're just, oh, they've got to be pressing. Truth of the matter is, most of the guys are probably pretty chill. They understand they're 6 games into this thing. And listen, the team's 3-3. Go out, win tomorrow with George Kirby on the mound. You win a series. You finish up your first homestand 4-3. I'll sign up for that. I will absolutely sign up for going 4-3 over your first 7 games here. So I feel like even I'm kind of talking like they're 1-5 or something. They're not. But yeah, JP for 5 with the RBI ground out. Like I said, it looks like he's pressing, but it could just be the results aren't there. So that's just where the mind goes when you see that. Julio was 1 for 4. I'm not gonna lie, the cameraman completely in the 7th inning. I think he got a lot of people because it was in the 7th inning. It was the Mariners had scored a couple runs, make it 5-2. And I swear Julio went upper tank off of I think it was Barlow. Scott Barlow came in. And it was just a routine fly out because the cameraman went all the way up with it. I thought Julio absolutely crushed that ball. So the cameraman got one over on me. Maybe he just wanted to give me a little hope, just a little hope for a second. Then Julio went deep. But Julio scuffling a bit. He did have no, it was Mitch Haniger that had the line out in the first inning. So brings me to, well, let's go Jorge Polanco first. 1 for 4 for Polanco. Again, just swinging over the top of a lot of breaking balls. Good to see him check in with a base hit. Again, looks like a guy that's pressing, but it could just be he's struggling. So we think they're pressing when they're struggling. I think Polanco will get hot at some point here. I honestly think this road trip coming up, and again, Mariners still have a chance to go 4-3 on this homestand, which is totally fine. But like I said in the beginning, I don't. They're 3-3, but I think they've looked a little bit worse, if you can say that, through 6 games. I think getting on the road might actually be a good thing. Sometimes it takes the pressure off these guys. Polanco's new to the team. You want to put on a little bit of a show for the fans. So again, like not necessarily pressing, but I do think there is a little bit of like these guys want to come out of the gate really hot. Sometimes I think starting at home can hurt that maybe a little bit. Mitch Haniger was 1 for 4. He also had a line drive in the first inning, which I think was like 105 off the bat that was caught for an out. Mitch Garver was 1 for 3 with a walk and a double. Good to see a little bit of the power from Mitch Garver. Nice at bat on the walk as well. Garver so far 733 OPS. We should be looking at OPS through 6 games, but actually Garver's only played 4 games, but you can see the value. Like he can drive the ball, can get on base. Let's hope the power starts coming for some of these guys here. Because the Mariners are not homered in this series, at least. No, yeah, they did. Canzone homered last night, but the power will get going for these guys. Same for Cal Raleigh, who was 2 for 4, a couple singles, and 9 hits today and 2 walks with Shane Bieber on the mound isn't awful, but we want to see some of the extra base hits, getting the ball driven a little bit more here, stringing some hits together. The Mariners are starting to get a little more offense going compared to the first series, but they're just not stringing hits together. Still not hitting with runners in scoring position. I'll talk about it, but they actually had some chances against Shane Bieber tonight, but just couldn't really capitalize with runners in scoring position. Ty France was 1 for 3 with the walk. Thought for sure his double was getting out of the park. Ty also worked a full count against Clase. I thought had a pretty good at bat. He did strike out in the 9th inning, which is a shame because he could have found a way to get on base. Canzone doubled behind him and, maybe a chance to make that rally. But Ty France looks good. Ty France has had a nice start to the season. It hasn't been sexy. Like there's nothing that I've seen that makes me go, man, this guy's an all-star. But one, I think dropping him in the order helps. I feel better with Ty France hitting 6th, 7th, 8th. And he does look better. He's hitting some more line drives. So hopefully drive line helped Ty France. And listen, he doesn't need to be all-star level, but just, a little bit better than last year. And he should be in pretty good shape there. Canzone was 1 for 4 with a double. Actually, I wonder if it was ruled a single with an error because it was bobbled out there by Quan. Listen, I like Dom Canzone. I think the bat can be legitimate. I've seen signs of it. He's got to figure out breaking pitches, though, because you saw it at bat. I don't remember what inning it was against Bieber where he struck out looking, and it was just a breaking ball that dropped right over the heart of the zone. I think it was 3-2. I think Canzone was weirdly kind of taking all the way. I think he thought he might get a breaking ball in the dirt, but he's guessing when it comes to breaking balls. So he's just got to improve there. You don't have to be, Barry Bonds off breaking pitches or anything, but just enough where they can't just throw you that and automatically get you out, essentially. So, we'll see. But, good to see Canzone get the hit. Slow start for him. Again, someone that may be pressing a little bit. I don't know. I say that, but then it's also like, again, you go back to the results, make it look like they're pressing. But Canzone had that great spring training. That could just be spring training, and it is what it is. But I do think there is a good player inside Dom Canzone. Just got to figure either lay off some of those breaking balls, not the ones right over the middle, or figure out how to hit them a little bit better. If I knew how to do that, I'd be coaching in baseball. I don't know what the answer is to that, but that's what he's got to do. Josh Rojas was 1 for 4 with an RBI. Again, Rojas been one of the bright spots offensively. He did have an error that allowed a run to score on a bunt in the 4th inning. I actually thought he made a decent play on the ball. The throw was a little off. I do think Ty could have extended a little bit more for the ball. I do think Ty has a little like muscle memory from when he got hurt against the A's a couple years ago when he extended his arm, and I forgot who ran into him there. It was Newsy, Sheldon Noyce, or whatever, Noyce, whatever, for the A's that ran into him. Because you could kind of see even there, Ty kind of kept it right here. Thought he could extend a little bit more, but also a bad throw by Rojas. Yes, it is a play that I believe a Eugenio Suarez makes. You guys know I've defended Jerry, Justin. I think overall they've done a good job here with limitations from ownership. And I think that was part of that trade as well. But you guys know I did not like that trade. When I made the video, I said I didn't like it. I wasn't against trading a Eugenio Suarez, for the record. I do think there is some possibility of a drop off for Gino. I know he's been off to a good start, or at least was over the weekend. So I wasn't against trading him, but if you're going to trade those guys, you got to get something back that's gives you some value. That's my beef with both trades this offseason, really, even the Kelenic trade. Like, I don't mind trading Jared Kelenic, but it's like just in a total salary dump. Now, I think Gino, they got a little bit more back. I do like Carlos Vargas if he can find a little bit more command control. I don't think Zavala is going to be a terrible backup catcher, really good defensive guy, and I hope can hit enough to provide some value. But when you're cash strapped, or at least what this ownership thinks is cash strapped, you have to make those moves. And listen, I like Josh Rojas. I really do. I think Josh Rojas is a nice little player. I think he's a great platoon guy to have there. And truthfully, he's probably been their best offensive weapon so far this season. So this isn't to knock Josh Rojas at all. I think Rojas is a solid player, but it's definitely the elephant in the room, right? Gino makes that play. Let's just get that out of the way. I will say this. You guys will not see me spending too much time on Teoscar, Gino, Kelenic. They're not Mariners anymore. I just, at the end of the day, and I'm just not someone that carries there's no reason to carry ill will on Gino for anything, but I'm not rooting against anybody. I'm not rooting against Kelenic. It's just guys I'm not going to talk about a whole heck of a lot. They're not Seattle Mariners anymore. It is what it is. Those trades happen, whether you like them or not, and I don't want to spend this whole video talking about those. I understand why they were made. I don't hate the idea of trading those guys, but I just wish there would have been a little bit more value back in return. So that's all I'll say on that. Just for anybody new that didn't see those videos that I made, in the off season. I will say this, and I want to pull up the Savant page for this game. Let me see if I can do it here. Let me see if I've got it there. So if you look at the Baseball Savant page for this game, out of the 5 hardest hit balls tonight, 4 of them were Seattle Mariners. Ty France, I'm assuming that was his double at 105. Bo Naylor probably on that home run. Garver, Haniger, and Cal Raleigh. If you look at the expected batting average from this game right in here, Mariners expected batting average was 257. Cleveland was 206. I bring that up as I'm going to close that up now. I bring that up. Listen, baseball's weird. The Mariners are going to win games where they have a much lower expected batting average than another team. It's going to even out. I'm trying to put a little positive spin on it in this game. There were some hard hit balls there from the Mariners. The Guardians got a few balls that snuck through there with the expected batting average today being 206. I think Josh Naylor had a hit at one point, like the expected batting average on it was like 071. That might be a little bit defensive Castillo there and the outing he had. And Shane Bieber is really good, guys. Shane Bieber, and then you have Emmanuel Clase at the back end. Barlow's a good reliever. Cleveland can pitch. That's what they do. And, Bieber's a Cy Young guy who looks absolutely back into Cy Young form. Not trying to make excuses, but I actually didn't think the Mariners they did have some pressure on Bieber at points in this game. They just couldn't capitalize. And for whatever reason, they've got to find a way there, because I do think they could have scored 2 or 3 off Bieber. And I do think, and they did score a couple off the bullpen. Game's a little bit different if it's 5-4, maybe in the 9th inning there. So, I just wanted to show that, just to show that, like, it wasn't all awful tonight. The Mariners did hit some balls hard. You can look at some of that data. And listen, Savant and all that stuff is not the end all be all, right? Like, if games were played in spreadsheets, there'd be no reason to watch the games. So I always try and take an even approach with it. I'll use the sabermetrics. I'll use the data, the batted ball profiles and all that. But baseball's deeper than that too. So we can't just look at that and go, well, see, they're fine. They could have won the game because they had a better expected batting average tonight than the Guardians. That's not how baseball works. What works is Cleveland scored 5 runs, the Mariners scored 2, and Cleveland gets the W. So, take everything with a grain of salt. All the data, all the numbers and everything. But, I will say this: Shane Bieber absolutely looks back to Cy Young form. And, I know people are frustrated with this offense so far. I will say, I think they've had much better at bats in this series against Cleveland than they did against Boston. Even tonight, they were able to get some base runners. They're just not hitting with runners in scoring position. That should come around, right? Like, most players should hit about their career average with runners in scoring position. So, we know the pitching is going to be good. I still like the offense. I think it'll get going. I think they ran into a bit of a buzzsaw. Boston pitched a lot better than we thought they would. We knew Cleveland could pitch, right? I talked about in the series preview, and they did a good job against Tristan McKenzie. I'll admit, I didn't think McKenzie looked very sharp, but listen, better to hit a pitcher when he's not sharp than not hit him. And I didn't think they were that awful against Bieber tonight. Now, Bieber, like I said, he was painting some corners. Ty France had that double, when it was 4-0, and Bieber strikes out the side, just dotting the edges. So, Shane Bieber does deserve credit. And I know. And guys, I promise you, my old line last year was like, I'm out of caps to tip to some of these pitchers. That's the case if Patrick Corbin shuts them down. If, we love him, but if Marco Gonzalez shuts this team down, then I might be like, dude, guys, come on. But I can't get too up in arms about Shane Bieber beating this team. I can't. It was frustrating because I looked like Castillo was going to match him 0-for-0 for this entire game, and it didn't happen. But it's I don't want to say it is what it is, because I feel like I say that 20 times. Someone pointed that out in the comments. I'm really trying not to say that as much, but I think it's just my go-to statement when I really don't have an answer for some things. So we'll move on. Listen, at the end of the day, George Kirby's on the mound tomorrow. The Mariners got a chance to win a series. I'm all about winning series. You win 2 out of 3, that's 66%. You're in good shape the rest of the way. So if you can win 66% of your ball games, you're going to have a darn good season. So hopefully the Mariners can come out tomorrow. George Kirby can get the job done. They can win a series, get to 4-3. You got an off day, reset a little bit. And if they can do that, listen, you could be 4-3 without having played really good baseball. Get a chance to reset yourself. Go on the road. Get away from the crowd a little bit. Maybe some of the pressure of playing at home. And I do think this team is going to be just fine. Miami's 0-6. Houston's 1-5, and Josh Hader blew it in the 9th inning today. A lot of teams around baseball that are, looking for answers early on. It is a long, long season, guys. Now, I certainly want this team to get off to better starts. I've talked about that. I absolutely think it would behoove this team to not bury themselves early and need massive winning streaks at the end of the year. But again, if you can hang around 500 for the first month, you're fine. You're in good shape. You're there to make a run. I don't know what the schedule looks like, for it. I know it's Milwaukee, then Toronto next, but the schedule will ease up at some point, and you'll get to play Colorado. You'll get to play Chicago, the White Sox. You'll get to play the A's and stuff like this. So if you're, 14-14, then you got a 3-gamer with Oakland, a 3-gamer with the White Sox, that's a great chance to go 5-1, and boom, you're 20-15 and probably sitting in a playoff position. So Like I said, not going to worry yet. It's hard to kind of do. You guys are probably ready for me to just end this video. I feel like I've gone into an ending rant 10 times. But it's kind of hard to do these daily post-game recaps because baseball to me is all about groups of games. You know what I mean? Like it's about the series. Tonight was frustrating, but they win tomorrow. Like I'm completely happy with that series winning 2 out of 3. So it's why originally I actually thought about just doing series recaps, but I love talking with you guys and talking baseball. So I had to do these each night. But baseball is just, it's tough to break down each night because, yeah, this was frustrating. I hate watching my team lose. But we're also talking about a sport where you play 162 games and the best team is going to lose probably 60 games this year. And the Mariners are certainly not the best team in baseball. So, minimum, this team's losing 65. Now, that would be an amazing year, 97-65. That's not my prediction for the team. I have them more about 90 to 92. But that means they're going to walk away losing a lot of baseball games. And it's just, sometimes things do happen. I would love for them to be 5-1 or 6-0 right now, but they're also not 1-5 or 0-6. And despite having played pretty bad baseball outside of Kirby, Gilbert, and then a couple relievers, they're sitting at 500. So, a chance to win that series tomorrow. Have a great night, everybody. Hopefully the Mariners bounce back at the W. Hey, if you're going to the game tomorrow or any game coming up soon, head to SeatGeek, download the app, or go to their website. Use promo code JSTrident for $20 off your next purchase on SeatGeek. George Kirby on the bump tomorrow. Go get a Series W. Get above 500. Then let's hit the road and see what this team can do in their first road trip. Have a great night, everybody. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and go Mariners. Peace.